Okay, we're testing the GH2 with the 14-140, f5.6, 24 frames per second, 1/25th of a second. Yes, that's a 360-degree shutter. You'll find out why in a moment. 5,000 ISO, and that's as high as I'm going to take it, just because I think it looks pretty darn nice at 5,000 ISO. So we're going to see how this looks. So this is a quick test to verify that kit lenses and primes look more or less the same at the same settings. And so at f5.6 they're all going to be settable at this for around 50 millimeters. So this is again the Pentax, no sorry, this is the 14-140 all-in-one zoom set exactly at 50 millimeters according to the dial. It looks fairly wide compared to what the other 50s look like. You'll see that momentarily. So I guess that's about it for this one. This is the only setting I'm going to show on this lens, 14-140. I've just put the X Vario 14-42 on. Of course, it's zoomed to maximum at 42, so it's quite a bit behind the 50 of the 14-140, and it is clearly a bit wider, but it's still at 84 effective, so it's not, you know, wildly off. Well, 16% give or take. So we're just going to give it a little bit of time here to see how it looks, noise-wise, etc. And then we're going to do a couple of primes, the 45 Lumix, and then I'm going to put the Pentax 1.4 on, and I'm going to shoot each of those. This is about the best these two can do at f5.6. That's why we're choosing that aperture. I'm going to shoot each of the other two at 5.6, and then I'm going to follow it up at their maximum aperture and lower ISO, just to see how much better that theoretically looks. That's it for the 14-42 X Vario PZ by Panasonic. So here we have the Olympus 45 millimeter. So this one's shooting at 90 effective, slightly closer than the previous one, and theoretically less close than the one before that, but all within a very close range. Same settings exactly, no difference, except now we're shooting through a prime. Each of these has been autofocused since they can, and they're autofocused by setting it to 24 area or 50 million area or whatever it is, 23 area, that's it I guess. And then pressing on the touch screen onto the target, which is the can of the mesh can there, or basket if you will, and by focusing then with one go, I think the camera's in continuous, so if it went out of focus it would try to focus anyway, and that's it. So this has been the Olympus. On the back screen I'm not seeing much difference, but we'll see. Maybe I'll add some text in if I really feel that there has been a difference from the kit lenses to this one. The theory on DP Review's Micro Four Thirds forum is that the difference comes from T-stop differences. Zooms to good quality primes, yeah, there could be a pretty big T-stop difference, but what does pretty big mean? You know, like a third of a stop. And since I've got ISO fixed, all I should see is a slight darkening of the frame, maybe with a bit of extra noise, but that's it. Anyway, we'll see how this looks. And now we're on the Pentax 1.4, but it's set at f5.6, and it's actually not as different as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty close to the 45. Obviously, it's only a, you know, it goes from 90 effective to 100 effective. There's a little bit of flashing going on because I have an LED bulb in the bathroom that's casting a light and it's starting to flicker. Now, since there are 7 other ones in there that aren't, I don't know if we'll even notice the flickering. It's stopped now anyway. So, yeah, this looks really nice, but I don't know if it looks nicer than the other. Is this really a much better lens? Somebody was saying T-stops come from the size of the glass. This has by far the largest element on the front since it's adapted from a Pentax and designed for full frame. So it's a great big lens by comparison to the others, and it does look quite slick. So now I'm going to really make it look better, since I'm going to take the 5000 ISO and I'm going to drop it as far as I can by opening it all the way up. I'll do the opening up first and then I'll bring it back. So I'm going to go from 5.6 to 1.4, which I believe if you calculate will be exactly 4 stops. That's 4 stops overexposed. Pretty brutal, I'd say. So let's start speeding it. So there's 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops, 4 stops. Now that's too dark, I think. So let's put it back a little. Let's open it up a little. Now that's shutter speed. So I'm going to put that back actually to where it belongs, which is 50th. Actually, I'll put it back to where it used to be. And now I'll do it with ISO. If I can change ISO, I don't think I can. I'm going to stop now and set it for you. Okay, so now we've dropped back to, we've reset everything to 1.4, 25, 1/25. And we've brought it to 400 ISO, which looks pretty darn nice. This is quite clean, I'd say. As it should be. This camera is pretty spectacular. Despite its age, it still beats everything except maybe the GH2. And even then, in a fair fight, I'm running K 2.3 and getting 60, so unless you run the GH2 in its highest 75 bits, I'm not entirely sure it easily beats the GH2. But I suppose it depends on what you're looking at and the kind of patch and so on. Still, this looks pretty cool. Even on the back screen, it looks pretty awesome. It's really clean. So let's take a look now and see what it looks like in the computer. That's going to sound really, really dumb to you because you're looking at it on the computer through YouTube. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the test. That's really all I was trying to do, is say primes look great at their wide open, but do they look better than kit lenses at the same f-stop? Well, let's find out. And you'll be seeing text overlaying this blathering I'm doing to close this off. The text will tell you what I think is the difference from the various kit lenses to the 2 primes. And I lied when I talked earlier about showing you the Olympus at wide open. Not much point in that, since I've got this gorgeous lens at wide open. It tells the tale.